All right, guys, here we are entering the Luckstone Quarry. Get a load of the size of this equipment. These dump trucks here. This Luckstone employee was helping to direct traffic, and he had on a pretty cool theropod t-shirt. So we see a lot of red rock like this, y'all. So this is basically sandstones and siltstones that have got a high iron content. Iron, of course, oxidizes. It's going to turn rusty red. So we'll see a fair amount of that.
Going to, then Payne also has been hauling 2180 King George landfills for them.
It's not that, they're not hauling down to that solar.
Hey guys, so as you can see, the Luckstone Quarry is a gigantic hole in the ground, and there's a reason it's sited where it is. Here's a map of Northern Virginia with Culpeper County at the lower center part of the map. The green swath running up along the right side of the map is what geologists call a rift basin or a rift valley. It's also called the Culpeper Basin. It's roughly 100 miles long and about 10 miles wide. You can see sort of a red spidery pattern within it. That's actually magma or lava that rose up and erupted in places as this crack in the Earth's crust was slowly opening over time. Over time, it also filled with a variety of sediments and rocks, many of which that were shed off of the mountains west of us, the Blue Ridge Mountains. But you can see the red material on this map. It cooled. That's magma and lava that cooled to form a valuable rock called diabase. This basin, which is just east of Culpeper, called the Culpeper Basin, is not unusual. There are many such rift basins along the east coast of the United States, stretching from Georgia all the way up past New York State. Here's a cutaway cross-section of the Culpeper Basin. You can see the layering of rocks that developed in this big crack as it slowly opened over time. And you can see that red structure in the center of it. That's magma, lava that rose up and erupted. When it finally cooled off, it made a particular rock a great construction stone called diabase. They dig it out of the quarry, they crush it in a crusher, they put it on rail cars, they send it around the United States. It's a valuable geologic resource for the county.
Like a slice of pie.
Right.
Then they cut them up.
Can I put the camera? Ask you a couple. You were obviously here that day, right?
Yeah, I was the guy that found them.
You were? Okay.
Yeah.
Can I take
So
a
you-
picture of your name?
Bob Clore.
Bob Ford.
28th, 89 is when they were found.
So you guys were just like clearing away the loose rock, and you saw this here? How did y'all discover the footprints?
We started down another bench and it filled up with water, so you pump the water out at night so you could work in the day.
Okay.
And the water had washed the floor clean, so
You could
the
see
only
it.
thing that showed up was the water in the bottom of the tracks, and it was very obvious that it was some tracks of some kind, so
I see.
I went and told my boss that it looked like the big chicken had been down here, walking and leaving a footprint. But in essence, when
big
it was
3 toes.
mud and he was walking down here, over the period of millions of years, the sediments filled the bottom of those tracks, and then compression from the weight and the heat from the volcano down in Mount Pony heated the ground to help make the rock that we're standing on today.
Huh. Okay.
So 215 million years ago, you'd have been in Cuba.
Wow, that's something. And this is the type of dinosaur they think it was?
This is a fantastic painting by the artist William Sillin of a late Triassic rift basin, the exact kind of environment that was exposed at the bottom of the quarry. And in the foreground, you can see several species of small dinosaur running around on the mudflats of a lake. In the distance, in the background, are the Appalachian Mountains. They were much higher back then. They would have shed sediment that would have been carried by streams downslope into the basin. Okay. So this is particularly cool, guys, because we've got, if you look at these little hexagonal sort of shapes, this pattern that's on this surface, those are mud cracks. Many millions of years ago, this mud would have been along the wide shore of a lake at the bottom of this basin, the Culpeper Basin. And, you know, water levels would rise a little bit, water levels would fall, and it left these mud cracks when the water levels were low. So you can see right here where one of these dinosaurs tracked through this mud, that it started to dry out and kind of crack in the sun. Right here, as you can see, guys, they took a diamond saw here and they took it to this layer of rock and they cut out one of the fossil footprints. That's a footprint right there, and of course another one follows, and so on.
So then it hardened and made it like rock. So this at one time was just muddy water and like a swamp area. And, it hardened, and that's how the prints are still here.
Here's an image of one of the small dinosaur species whose footprints are very prevalent in the bottom of the quarry. It's difficult for scientists to positively identify which footprint belongs to which particular species, because there were several that were active and leaving tracks in the Culpeper Basin at that time. So they tend to refer to the footprints by a single name, Growlator. Again, these were small dinosaurs, not a whole lot bigger than a large dog. Here's a size comparison between a person and one particular species called Culpeper. Sort of a contact between two different layers of sedimentary rock. Both of these layers have been cooked from underneath by uprising magma. It would have been extremely hot, thousands of degrees. It would have been sweating off all kinds of fluids. We can see cracks in this sedimentary layer right here that have filled with white stuff, probably the same mineral we see in this rock right here, calcite. So as this environment was happening many millions of years ago, it would have been very hot. There would have been groundwater mixing with hot magma under the surface of the earth, and the groundwater would be basically steaming hot, carrying all kinds of dissolved minerals, and ultimately the rocks themselves ended up cooked. They ended up metamorphosed, and they changed from sort of a semi-hard sedimentary rock into a very hard metamorphic rock. Another track that's also present in the bottom of the quarry is of a larger dinosaur called a Dilophosaurus. Here's a size comparison here between a human and a Dilophosaurus. They reached lengths of 7 meters and weights of 880 pounds. This was a pretty widespread species. It was originally discovered in Arizona, and it's very prevalent along the East Coast as well. Another species whose trace fossils have been found in the Culpeper Basin was called a phytosaur. It resembled a giant crocodile.
It didn't erupt. Oh, okay. That's why it destroyed the carbon, so they couldn't date it. So they had to go up above Manassas to drill a hole and carbon date the rock to tell how old this was.
Really? Wow. What age did they turn up?
215 million years ago.
215? Okay. All
We
right.
down in the ground about 255 feet right here.
Okay. All right. And so
Supposedly
in
that took 5 million years to form.
5 million years to form the stack above us.
Yeah.
Okay.
When did they start digging it?
They started here probably in the late 30s, but it was only a,
So I can.
it was only
that you're the
a small.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for letting me.
Thank you so much.
Did they actually name it after you? Did they?
No, they wanted to, but it had been named in 1925.
Okay. Okay.
So all they did was put in brackets at the end of the manuscript, thanks to me for finding the tracks.
I see. That's awesome. That's awesome.